Chers amis d'Ivoire TV, bonjour, ici Germain Kwasi. Nous sommes ici aujourd'hui pour assister à une table ronde. Table ronde organisée par la Commission des taxis et limousines de l'État de New York. Table ronde certainement au cours de laquelle seront élevés certains responsables de cette société, de cette compagnie, de ce business, dont un Africain, M. Kane Mamadou. Il est ici aujourd'hui et M. Kane Mamadou sera l'une des 7 personnes honorées aujourd'hui et l'une des 7 personnes qui prendra toutes les décisions possibles au niveau de ce business. Suivez-moi et je vous donne rendez-vous dans la salle. Nous allons assister à l'intronisation de M. Kane Mamadou. Merci bien.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. We're going to go very quickly here, as quick as we can. I want to give you a quick, brief history of the Livery Roundtable. You know who we are and where we come from and what we're looking to do. You'll have more details later. But the Livery Roundtable began in early of 2008 by Carmel Car Service and Dial 7. It was their way to try to get better representation before the TLC, New York City City Council, other regulators and legislators. Initially, it was discovered that there were at least 7 different associations in the New York area that represented the various interests of the community car services. Car services, owners, bases, drivers, etc. Each group had their own particular niche, and each one had their interests in one direction, and they were just not working together. When the TLC, and this is probably one of the main underlying causes, when the TLC published their 32 pages of rules last year in 2008 and everybody went crazy, it was obvious that there was a need to work together collectively. There was an initial meeting held in March of 2009 at the TLPA conference in the Grand Hyatt Hotel. I know we all have our cell phones. Can you put them on mute, please? During the following months, there were various meeting and telephone conversations that were discussing the TLC accountability rules, and the end result of the group working together, the 7 associations, was that we felt like about 80 to 85% of the conditions or problems we felt were addressed and resolved. Nobody gets 100%. While this was a solid accomplishment based on mutual cooperation and understanding, it became obvious that the 7 associations had more in common than they had differences. And we decided to put the differences aside and work on the common things that we had to work together on. There were a series of meetings that were held after that. And in May of 2010, the Livery Roundtable was formally organized and incorporated. I know it says 888, and that's true because that's when it began, back in August of 08. When the people began, we believe the foundations were laid at that point. Our membership consists of 7 associations: the Livery Base Owners Incorporated, the New York City Independent Livery Owners Corporation, the New York State Federation of Taxi Drivers Incorporated, the New York City Fleet Livery Owners Association Incorporated, United as One TLC Base Owners Association, the Board of Livery Transportation Industry Trades, the United African Livery Drivers and Base Owners Association. Each association selects a representative to be on the board of directors. In most cases, they've selected their own presidents. So the president of the 7 associations are on the board of directors. In addition, there are 2 permanent founding directors, and that is Carmel and Dial 7. So the board of directors consists of a total of 9. At present, we represent over 18,000 livery-based drivers, 350 base owners, and approximately 8,000 other operators and dispatchers. I'll go through who the people are when we introduce them later. We have several people here that we would like to recognize, and forgive me with some of the names. I know Sergio will love that. That we'd like to acknowledge. Isu from LCT Magazine. Isu, where are you? In the back. Dawn Sheldon from Limo Digest. Kareem Debati from the Afro Market. I did not see her, but did Luna Lou come in from the World Journal? She had indicated being running late. I didn't see her. Sharif from Le Grand newspaper, is he here? No. And one of the unsung champions of our industry, Neil Weiss from the Black Car News. I'd like to ask Neil to come up because he had some announcement that he would like to make, and I think we'd all like to hear it.
I won't take up too much of your time, but I just wanted to let you all know that I'm starting this month. I'm launching a new newspaper called the Livery Times, which speaks specifically to your industry. In recent years, I've watched the New York City livery industry evolve and grow, and this event seems to make official something that we already knew. It's a strong, and unified segment of the industry, and one that I thought was worthy of its own publication. Since many of the people who were part of this industry speak Spanish as their first language, I'll be providing articles in both Spanish and English in each month in Livery Times. The first issue will be coming out in a few weeks, and I welcome all of you to provide input and offer your opinions on ways that it can serve you better. I also recently launched a website at liverytimes.com. It's currently under construction, but soon it'll be up and running at full capacity. Your feedback on my site would also be greatly appreciated. If you have any questions or comments, or you're interested in advertising in the paper or having it delivered to your base, all of my contact information is available at my website, or I'd be happy to give you my card after I sit down. Thank you for your time.
We have some other people we'd like to recognize. From the Metropolitan Taxi Board of Trade, Joe Gianetto. From the BCAC and the Black Car Fund, Burge Horatorian. Burge. Laboa, Sergio Sanchez. By the way, Sergio informed me that after this event today, we're all going up to Yankee Stadium as a freebie from Laboa. Shea Stadium. From the Limousine Association of New York, Jeff Rose. I have to recognize my counterpart, even though Bill Carter from the Limousine Association of New York. From the Long Island Limousine Association, represented by Paul Kennelly and Robert Cunningham. From the Limousine Association of New Jersey, Barry Lefkowitz. Barry is also the architect of the New Jersey limo law. Barry, that was a great job. I also would like to recognize perhaps somebody here we all know. It's going to be an impossibility within the industry missing this person, but the retiring Executive Director of the Black Car Fund and the BCAC, Vic Diesengoff. Victor, 50 years in the industry, you're a hard act to follow, probably impossible to follow. But we do wish Ira Goldstein, who is taking that job, all the best. Ira is not here, but we want to pass on to the BCAC our compliments and good wishes to him. From the TLPA, we have the income. Oh, I forgot to mention, in addition to the Black Car Fund and the BCAC, Victor is the current president of the TLPA. And following in his footsteps, we have from the new president-elect, Robert McBride. We have a couple of friends of lobbyists and legal matters and consultants from State and Broadway, Jacqueline Williams. From Constantinople and Bologna, we've got Anthony Constantinople. And we have the former and first Speaker of the New York City Council, Peter Vallone Sr. The members or the board of directors will be installed today. I'll announce their names and we'll go through their associations also. The Livery Base Owners Incorporation, Pedro Heredia. The New York City Independent Livery Owners Corporation, Robert Hewling. New York State Federation of Taxi Drivers, Jose Valoria. New York City Fleet Livery Owners Association, Artie Grover. United as One TLC Base Owners Association, Darlene Sanchez. This gentleman and his association is not present today. He is out of the country. That's the Board of Livery Transportation Industry Trades, Lloyd Taylor. United African Livery Drivers and Base Owners Association, Kane Mamadou. Avik Cabeza, CEO of Carmel, standing in the back. Tarek Malak, General Manager, Dial 7. I'll come back, but I'm going to bring up two people right now for their comments in reference to, they are the two permanent founding board of directors. Got to get that's a mouthful. And that's Avik Cabeza and Tarek Malak.
Avik will start. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed with the support and help and selfless and timeless effort that every one of you that has given us. I'm referring to my colleagues and my partners in the associations and organizations of the livery industry. We have come a long way. I'm a newcomer. You guys have laid the groundworks. You have worked very hard for many years to make this industry what it is. It only took us a quick look to realize everything that we are missing is nothing but putting you together for us to stand up. When we did this, we had 480 some odd bases, about 24,000 vehicle owners, pulling in my estimate about 30 to 30 some thousand drivers. But yet we could not get anything done. Not for the lack of effort, not for the lack of enthusiasm, and not for the lack of passion, but just a simple coordination, which was a very simple thing that my best friend and partner, Avik, and myself figured this is the least we can do. This is the least we can contribute to put our resources and your talent to stand up to what we believe in as one of the most important segments of the industry. Nothing less than the doctors, nothing less than the engineers to provide a service that this city cannot survive without. We move people. We need to move their opinion and the respect of our industry. And we can only do this by working together with our regulators when they're right. We stand up and let them know that they are wrong and be there to help steer them to the right direction. We are not going anywhere. We're getting more organized. We're going to continue to be a valuable and an asset to every segment of this industry and every part of the greater New York area, the outer boroughs before Manhattan, the upper Manhattan before Midtown, and Midtown nevertheless. I just want to make sure that we never get called by any official, consumer, passenger, or a colleague gypsies again.
Here, here. Before I start, I would like a big round of applause for Guy Palombo, please. This is a dream come true for me, and to see everybody here, people from all the sectors of the industry, regulators, warms my heart, and I really, really would like to thank you for coming. Several years ago, when we tried unifying this industry, we realized that all organizations were for unity, but what in actuality they meant is unity under them. So it was never possible. It was only when we moved away from the unity, concentrate on fighting common threats, promoting common causes, and respect our differences, that in actuality we became united. Delivery Roundtable is a true roundtable. There's no head. All associations have equal rights, regardless of their size and or contribution. The fundamentals of Delivery Roundtable stands on trust and open communication. In our meetings, we trust that every member does whatever he or she can do for the common good, and we communicate our concerns openly. We trust that are all looking to make it work, and it's been showing progress, and it's amazing how we are becoming as a team when we concentrate on our common causes and we respect our differences. Under the same platform of trust and respect of differences, I would like to extend an invitation to all of the representatives that are here from the different sectors of this industry to call and to invite you to work together on the many common threats that we are facing and going to face while respecting our differences. To our regulators and public officials, I would like to say that our commitment is to work with you. Our commitment is, as Tarek said, is to bona fide the image of delivery industry. Delivery industry suffered from bad reputation for too many years. We are here to change it, and the change starts today. Thank you.
I failed to mention that there is going to be one additional board of directors. We hasn't been selected yet, and that's a vendor member. So all you vendors out there, join. One of you are going to be selected. Now, for our introduction of our guest speakers, followed by the induction, we'd like to first start with Peter Vallone Jr. Born and raised in Queens, in particular Astoria, he represents the 22nd District, which includes Astoria, Long Island City, parts of Jackson Heights, and I didn't know this, Rikers, Randalls, and Ward's Island. He had served 6 years as an assistant DA in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. He's been very active concerning security in schools, many other things. He has led numerous issues involving public safety and graffiti, and in particular, the New York Times named him the man who hates graffiti. And the Staten Island Advance, where's Artie? The Staten Island Advance names him graffiti public enemy #1. He has graduated magna cum laude and Phi Beta Kappa from Fordham University, my old alma mater. And he is also, and most importantly to us, he is also chairman of the Public Safety Committee. Please welcome Councilman Vallone.
Since so many people at Rikers, I figured I might as well represent them, you know? So I give some tours if you want to go. Thanks, Guy. Thank you. I don't know now with this new group if I'm more or less confused about the different organizations involved. I think less confused. I think it's a great idea to have a roundtable now to bring everybody together. I got to tell you, every group that I've ever worked with, when it comes to every member you have here, all the different types of transportation, the yellow taxis, the luxury vehicles, the delivery cars, you name it. You've got the best representatives that come to see your elected officials and work on your behalf. I mean, these guys, they don't get a lot of press. They don't scream and yell and say nasty things, but and that means they're getting their job done. They're coming to see us. They're sitting down with us, and they're making their point and almost always getting us to go along. Nobody's going to agree every time, obviously, but you've got some great representatives representing you. And I'm a good guy. Now, I've worked with you since the day I was elected. I learned that from my father, how great this industry is, and especially on issues regarding fairness of competition and, most importantly, the protection and safety of our drivers. So I'm a good guy to have on your side, but I'm not as good a guy to have on your side as two of my colleagues that are sitting over there. We've got two people in the room today, and it shows you how much they think of this organization. We've got the chairman of the Transportation Committee, Jimmy Vacca, and we've got the TLC commissioner, David Yaski. Now, David used to be a council member too, so I work closely with David. And these two guys, you cannot have two better guys in charge of what you do than these two. Now, you read about elected officials every day. Some are not. We're not all that proud of some of them, okay, to put it mildly. But these two guys, you could not have two better guys, two guys with more common sense, two guys who are fair and who work really, really hard. And again, you're not going to agree with everybody every time, but they're going to have an open door for you to come in and make your point no matter what that point might be. And most of the time, you're going to be able to convince both of them. I've already sat down with David. I've sat down with David more than I sat down with the last TLC commissioner in 8 years already on different issues affecting you guys. And one issue we're working on, we're trying to get, the whole Avis We Drive You thing. We're trying to get that regulated. I work with David. They needed some legal authority to do that. I'm working with Jimmy Vacca now. Introduced a bill to get that done. And in fact, your representatives met with Jimmy, convinced him and his staff, and I think we're going to have a hearing down the road on moving that forward, again, to make sure competition is fair and you're not at a disadvantage. So I want to thank you for inviting me here. I try to get to as many of these things as I can. I have an open door too. Anytime you need anything, I'm there to help. And congratulations on this great organization. Thanks.
Next, we'd like to introduce Councilman James Vacca. James Vacca is a lifelong resident of the Bronx, represents District 13, which includes Pelham Bay, Throgs Neck, Country Club, City Island. We all went there for fish, I'm sure. Morris Park, Pelham Parkway. He has attended all the New York City public schools, PS 71, and Columbus High School. I have to say that Jimmy is from my neighborhood, my old neighborhood. I hung out at PS 71. I didn't realize you had gone to 71. For over 25 years, he's been a community activist, especially involved in senior citizen issues, to include St. Benedict's Church. Again, that was my old church. Boy, Jimmy, we crossed by a few years. We have to talk. Yes. He served as district manager of Community Board D10, and in January of 2006, he was elected to the City Council. He is currently the chairman of the Transportation Committee. Please welcome James Vacca.
Thank you, Guy. And now that he seems to know where I hung out as a kid, my answer is I didn't do it. But Guy, neither did you. Guy has always been in my office, and many in your industry reached out to me at a very early point when I became head of the Transportation Committee. And I depended on that because much of what I have to admit is that many issues were part of a learning process for me. All these organizations within one industry, you have to really have a map. But all of you coming together today is very, very important. I want to let you know that when I first became chair of the Transportation Committee, the yellow cab industry reached out to me too. And I have to tell you, as a resident of the Bronx all my life, I don't see many yellow cabs in the Bronx. And I learned a lot about them. I see a lot of you people in the Bronx. I see a lot of livery cabs in the Bronx, and I've used them. And also in the Bronx, I have to tell you, and I know it's true in other boroughs, I see many unlicensed cabs. And I often have to tell people and warn people about what they should look for before they go into a cab to make sure that the driver is licensed and the vehicle is registered. So part of it is an education process, because I don't want people to confuse your industry with what is an entity that is not licensed and not regulated, and which concerns me when it comes to passenger safety. So I'm willing to learn. I've learned a lot. I have more to learn. But having access to you and my assuring you that you will always have access to me and to my office is very, very important. New York City is really governed by transportation and its many, many modes. We are a city on wheels, one way or another. So we count on you. And I wanted you to know, at the Transportation Committee of the Council, you have someone who will listen, someone who looks forward to working with you, and someone who knows how important what you do every day is to all of us. I also have to single out my colleagues and thank Councilman Vallone for his very nice words. You know, when I think of Councilman Vallone and former Councilman Yaski and Speaker Peter Vallone, who really set the standard for what the current day City Council is, it's obvious to me more and more that we have more elected officials that are in this business to do good than we do have elected officials that are in this business to do bad. I didn't come to the City Council to get rich. I didn't come to the City Council to do things that I read about in the papers every day. I did come to the City Council to make a contribution to the city I was born in and the city that I love so much. So I thank you all for all you do, and I look forward to working you during my term at the Council as head of the Transportation Committee. Thank you very much.
They're going to perform a quick swearing-in ceremony, and then he'll have his comments. Commissioner Yatsky, excuse me, folks. Commissioner Yatsky is the 11th Commissioner and Chair of the TLC. He assumed his duties on March 24, 2010. Prior to this, he had served for 8 years, was that correct? 8 years in the New York City Council, representing Brooklyn Heights, Park Slope, Greenpoint, Williamsburg, etc. Commissioner Yatsky has served under the House of Representatives, Commissioner Yatsky has served under then House of Representative Charles Schumer. He has served in various other key positions. He went to school at Princeton University, and he earned his law degree from Yale University. Please welcome Commissioner Yatsky. That's the oath, and then you do your oath.
So, will you all repeat after me? I state your name. I promise or affirm to abide by the bylaws, rules, and code of ethics of the Livery Roundtable and the duties of the position for which I have been elected. Further, I will perform those duties to the best of my ability. And in the best interest of the association. So help me God. Mazel tov. Congratulations. Yes, I will. And first of all, I'm sure that my former colleagues, Peter Vallone and Jimmy Vacca, are probably going to be excusing themselves shortly. I know from when I served with them, you get many, many more lunchtime requests and invitations than you're able to do. So it's really an honor, I think, to the association to have them here. And I won't mind if you leave before or during my remarks, because I know you have other places to go to. But you really have attracted two of the very best. As Peter Vallone said, he's reached out really immediately to clarify and help us deal with a gap in the law
make sure that the livery rules are fair to everyone, and we will continue to work together on that. And of course, Jimmy, as chair of the, Chair of VACA really, as chair of the Transportation Committee, has worked already with the TLC on a whole range of issues, and we will keep doing that. And you could not have a better person serving in that role. So I want to give each of them a round of applause. It is a real honor. People say always honor to be here. It's a real honor for me to be here at the creation moment of this association. The seven is a special number. 7 C's. What I meant was these 7 founding associations. You can dial whatever numbers you want to get with this. But you know, you got the 7 C's, the 7 continents, 7 wonders of the world, 7 days of creation, 7 years of feast and years of famine, and I think we will add to that the 7 founding members of the Livery Round Table. It really is for a regulator to have a strong industry leadership is a blessing, and it makes our job so much easier. And from having dealt individually with each of the organizations represented here, I know that collectively as a roundtable, you will be a terrific partner for us. And I see this as a partnership. Tarek says the role is to communicate, to say, support when regulators are right, to speak up when you see the regulators as wrong, and no question, nobody gets it right every time, and you don't agree all the time. And I think within, as Avik says, within the organizations, while each has its own distinct perspective, what you have in common is so much greater. And I think the same is true of the TLC and the industry. A healthy industry that can serve New Yorkers day in, day out, as it does, and that can continue to grow, continue to prosper. That is our mission at the TLC. And when I assumed this job, I said right at the outset that when I went before the City Council for confirmation, right up front I said, my goal is to be a 5-borough TLC commissioner, meaning that the TLC focuses on every part of the industry and every part of the city that's served. And the reality is that for 4 out of the 5 boroughs, it is this industry. Chairman Vaca really said it. For 4 of the 5 boroughs, it is this industry that is predominantly the service industry for this form of transportation. And so that means that our commitment to work with you and make sure that you can operate smoothly, efficiently, continue to provide good value to your customers. If you're a 5-borough agency, that's paramount for us. So I want to say we look forward to continuing to work with each individually, but really with the collectivity. I think that the future of this industry is extraordinarily bright, and it's a privilege for me to be part of shaping that future with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank everyone. When we first booked this room, we were hoping to get 100, and when we hit 70, we were very thankful. We ended up with 155. Thank you all. Avik, Tarek.
I see that.
4, 5.
They want just the office. They want a special picture.
Tarek. Oh, sorry. Avik.
Oui, monsieur, vous êtes businessman, propriétaire d'une compagnie de taxis. Que pensez-vous de l'événement d'aujourd'hui?
Bon, je parle pas français bien, mais je suis très heureux parce que c'est le premier moment de déjà 30 années qu'on est ensemble, qu'on fait des choses comme un groupe pas divisé, mais united, je ne sais pas comment on dit united. Et chaque association, il donne le plus possible. Et comme ça, avec certaines associations, ils ont l'argent, l'autre, ils ont le gens, l'autre, ils donnent leur temps, mais tout ensemble. Et on change le monde ici à New York City, parce que pendant des années, le New York City, le politicien, il n'y a personne qui nous considérait quelque chose. Il y avait des lois qui étaient contre nous, et maintenant on est une force que tu peux pas ignorer. Ça veut dire que tu peux pas, il faut que tu l'écoutes. Et grâce à Mamadou, le groupe de l'Africain, ils ont représenté vraiment. Mamadou, il travaille très fort. Et on est très heureux qu'il est avec nous. C'est là.
Monsieur Canet, vous venez aujourd'hui de gravir certains échelons au niveau de ce business. Quelles sont d'abord quelles sont vos impressions et quels conseils pouvez-vous donner aussi à ceux qui vous regardent?
Ok, tout d'abord, je remercie tout le monde qui sont venus, et plus précisément lui, parce que je lui ai donné trop de hard time. À chaque fois qu'il y a quelque chose, il m'appelle, je dors, mais je fais tout possible d'aller là-bas. Mais mes consorts d'ici aujourd'hui et mes frères africains, je voudrais très bien qu'ils n'ont qu'à regarder le report, ce qu'on est en train de faire. Ils n'ont qu'à prendre l'affaire au sérieux. On arrive à un point aux États-Unis, nul ne peut faire quelque chose tout seul. Il faut qu'on vienne ensemble. Ensemble, on peut faire quelque chose. Quand depuis il y a 17 ans de cela, on a essayé de faire ça. Le président de l'African Congress, Sidiki Ouahi, est là. Grâce à lui, j'ai reconnu et j'ai raconté tous les commissionnaires et les grandes personnalités. Et quand j'ai raconté le monsieur là, c'est mon collègue, c'est mon ami, et je lui donne beaucoup de hard time. Mais en fin de compte, il supporte. Le message est là. Aujourd'hui, on a été inauguré, on a été sworn in, de savoir que l'industrie qu'on a, ce n'est plus gypsy, c'est livré round table. Donc maintenant, toute la communauté, on doit travailler ensemble de faire l'industrie de meilleure qu'on peut faire et de travailler ensemble. Mais mes frères africains, ils n'ont qu'à participer à la chose. Vous avez vu notre table, c'était presque vide plus que tout le reste. Donc je vous remercie aussi de venir et je demande toujours à les Africains, le brave a été les base owners et les chauffeurs. Toujours la lutte continuera. Qui savent que ça peut commencer aux États-Unis d'Afrique. Allez, je vous remercie aussi.
Do you think that we're going to see a few changes these days in this business?
I'm sure we do. We see already several of them. Many of your public don't know how many worse things could have done. It was thanks to people like Siddiqui, thanks to people like him, we got together and we changed a lot of things. There was an issue of sales tax that they wanted to impose on communities which cannot afford an increase in rate, and we fought together and only together. I think I heard what Mamadou said, and I'm very proud of looking at the table. Okay, unfortunately it's not always like this, and I want to use your TV station to call in all the base owners, all the African owners of bases. Do not stay in your corner, because this is affecting everyone. This is affecting everyone, and we've been doing very well, but this is only the beginning. We are changing the image, we are demanding respect. The only way we can change the image and demand respect is by fighting for what we believe, but also do the right thing. Be there when it's needed. When the president of the association calls you, come in, participate, okay? But yeah, we are seeing changes already. Life could have been 10 times worse in the last 2 years if it was not thanks to people like Mamadou, myself and other associations. There was an issue of workers' compensation. Many of the African-owned bases were at the brink of being out of business. Okay? We took them one by one. We went to Albany. We fought with Albany. We reduced the fines. We eliminated the penalties. We took a company, a base that owned $400,000, and we made it into 60 with 72 payments. I couldn't do it alone. Nobody listens to me or to him alone. But when we walk in, the Livery Roundtable, representing more than 18,000 drivers, more than 350 base owners, more than 9,000 office employees, people listen. You know why? Because they are politicians and they want to be elected, and we drive the voters. Now, this is not to use it on the wrong way, but when we are right, they listen to us. In the past, we could have been right, but nobody listened. So I'm grateful for what you do. Media never paid us attention unless somebody died. Right? But now they pay attention. You see those people, they come from all associations. You know why? For many years we existed, and we are more than 3 times their size, but they were never concerned with us. But now they are. So absolutely, I believe this is a part of a big change. Absolutely.
Mr. Siddiqui, how are you doing today?
Fine, thank you.
I heard that you're fighting so much for African people in this business. After today's event, what could you do, I would say, better, or how could you react? What else could you do to bring everybody on board?
I think the first thing we need to recognize is that whenever people see things happen, it is wonderful to see things happen, but there's always a history. People like Avik, people like Mamadou, and a whole bunch of people stood the test of time to say, we cannot do it alone. We're going to reach across all communities. And if we don't take a stand in an industry that is fast eroding, put aside our egos, put aside everything, we have one thing in common. These guys have done a service to this country, a service to this city, a service to the people who live here, a service to all of us. There is nothing for me to do more. This Livery Roundtable has now become the vehicle that is going to advocate, agitate, represent, and bring this industry from the brinks of collapse to the brinks of prosperity. Let me be very clear here. Every immigrant that comes here in this country, the first place that they start, people who went to school now are lawyers and doctors. They started with this industry. There are people who are transforming their nations. They started with this industry. And those of us who are in government, who support them, who see what Mamadou saw by demonstrating many years ago when people felt he was crazy, that has now began to bring to the forefront people who never believed that it could happen. People can make a difference. That's what these people have done. And today, you have African bases all over the city. By themselves, they can't do it. When they work together with industry people and regulators, like the commissioner said, as partners sitting at the table, then our job is done. Today is a very happy day for me. I had to do something downtown, but Mamadou said if I didn't come, and Avik, they were going to take my green card, and of course I have a blue card and a yellow card, but I'm proud of them, and I'm going to do everything in my own power as the national president representing 3.5 million Africans throughout the United States to support them, because by supporting them, I'm supporting my community, and by supporting the community, you're supporting government as well. So
I want to tell you something. I have to interject. I'm sorry. You see a lot of people here. There's 160 people here right now, politicians and everything. But when we were only 5 people, and the vision was very small, this gentleman, Siddiqui, was by our side. it's easy to join when you're successful, easy to join when you're big, although there's a lot of job to be done. But I really want your viewers to know, this gentleman, and I say it like it is, he was there when we were not shiny. He was there when we were not so fancy. Okay? He was there when there was 4 people or 5 people in the room. Okay? I remember. And you may not hear it many on the tabloids, but we, the founders of this organization, we know who was with us when we were starting. And this gentleman is one of them. And your viewers should be very proud. I wish my people would have had this kind of representation. So I'm joining in with him.
Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Diok Mokhtar, after this event, what's your impression?
I have just come to see what the event says, because I've never been in like that kind of organization, but I like to be seen and what we're doing, what the TLC is, what the TLC talking about, what the all council is talking. We like to be shared. I like to have everybody come to see after that for the next meeting.
So basically, this minute, once we all get out of here, you're going to just basically work harder to bring all African people on board.
We need to do that. We need to be a culture like our Hispanics and the other people do. We need to be confident and together to be half drunk. One person can do nothing. People a lot and can be with some voice be drunken. That's why I like to tell everybody we be joining.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Tarek, after this event, how do you see the business?
Well, only upward and mobile and moving on. We have nothing but a great future to go to. We're still very concerned about a lot of threats to our industry, whether it's coming from federal or state or regulators, and some of it, for the truth, is from within ourselves. I firmly believe that we should be very concerned of self-regulating. If we take care of our drivers and our riding public, they'll have a lot less need for regulators to impose rules upon us.
What else could you do that more than likely you haven't done to get more people united and to get this business stronger?
I've always believed in information for service and outreach. The more we educate our drivers, our vehicle owners, and bases, and our riding public of what is the right base is like, what is the right vehicle to ride in, and to support legitimacy, the more successful we're going to be.
So we can count on different action to...
Absolutely. I believe our website, our newsletters are going to be distributed very soon. The website is going to go up. Our continuous outreach to the bases and the associations, in their turn, to reach out to their membership. We want to empower our associations so they can, in turn, be a resource for their affiliated members.
Thank you, Mr. Tarek, and see you soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming, and I look forward to watching your channel.
With pleasure. Mr. DB, is there anything that right now going to your mind that you feel that you can do in the African community to get our people united and stronger?
I'm happy to see you today. I'm happy because I'm just from my people from UNC car service. I'm coming to the meeting right here. I'm really happy. What you see here, I think everybody gonna be together, work together, try to think together, everything gonna be going good.
We today have the commissioner of the transportation, we got B people, we got representative here. Is it a strong message that we're sending you for this business to come together? So what do you think about that?
I think it's better, it's good for everybody.
And why African people are so hesitating to join the group, to get into this business?
I don't know. I think all African people have to come and join this business because it's beautiful. That's better. It's not come here, it's not good.
Is there any special message that you want to send to our people out there to join you and Mr. Kani Mamadou? Okay. And Mr. Sidiki Y?
Okay, when I'm from here, all my people are going to see them coming to join with Sidiki and Kenny because this is good for this New York City.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, could you introduce yourself to our viewers, Ivoire TV, and let us know what you think about today's event?
Hi, my name is Andrea Gittins. I must say that today has been a very good day. Despite all the negative publicity that you've been having in terms of cab drivers and so forth like that, it is really good to see that so many people from so many different cultures can come together and form an organization such as this. So, you know, for just one purpose and one goal in mind, and that is in making the industry to grow stronger and, you know, just being able to serve the community better.
As Mr. Kane Mamadou's advisor, what kind of advice do you give him to get stronger and better?
Well, the word advisor is really a large title. I would say more like consultant. The fact that English not being his first language, at times there are papers that, of course, everything comes basically in English. And that is where I come in terms of helping him sometimes to just understand what is going on and to respond to different letters and notices and so forth like that. And like I said before, and I currently have consultant services where I offer services in terms of helping people to fill out applications which are in English, especially if you have a language barrier, fill out applications, write letters and so forth like that. I can be contacted. My email address is here to help you 27. The telephone number is 910-940-7445.
One more time.
917-940-7445.
Ok, Diaby Mouadou, je suis le représentant de Ivoire Car Service. Ok, tout ce que je peux dire, on a toujours dit à nos frères de s'approcher pour que le Gypsy au moins évolue. Et aujourd'hui, je crois que le caméra est là aujourd'hui, Ivoire TV est là. Vraiment, grâce à eux, les frères vont voir qu'est-ce que nous, on vient faire dans les réunions avec le commissionnaire. Puisque souvent, quand on quitte ici, on dit on a eu des réunions avec le commissionnaire, les gens disent que comment tu peux avoir une réunion avec le commissionnaire? Et on s'est approché à des gens, grâce à eux, grâce à qui aujourd'hui on peut parler, et même on peut parler même le commissionnaire de New York, le maire de New York et le commissionnaire de TLC pour régler le problème des Africains, les chauffeurs africains. Donc on est là, vous avez vu sur le truc, il y a les Spanish, il y a les Juifs, il y a tout le monde ici. Tout ce qui concerne Gypsy, aujourd'hui, on a tout vu ici, avec le commissionnaire même qui vient aujourd'hui honorer 7 personnes, je crois 9 à 7 personnes, pour pouvoir décider le problème de Gypsy Cap. Donc ceux qui ne croyaient pas, je crois qu'avec la télévision Ivoire TV, je crois que la vérité est là. Vous allez voir ça sur votre écran. Approchez-vous prochainement quand on va vous appeler de venir pour qu'on puisse joindre d'autres personnes pour pouvoir régler les problèmes de Gypsy. Venez, on va le faire. C'est dans l'intérêt de tout le monde. Et nous les Africains, on a considéré que le travail de Gypsy, c'est peut-être quelque chose de passage. Et pourtant, c'est un emploi. Nous devons respecter cet emploi. Et pour respecter ça, il faut évoluer dedans. Voilà, donc c'est ce que je voudrais lancer comme appel à tout le monde au nom de mon président. Et que tous les Africains comprennent que qu'on dit Gypsy, c'est un travail. Et un travail légal dans ces pays est respectueux. Avec le Gypsy, tu peux même parler, même le président de la République. Et quand on connaît le Gypsy, combien d'Américains on prend, combien de citoyens on déplace pour aller au travail, nous ne connaissons pas l'importance. Donc on vient de le dire, les chemins hautes là viennent de dire, on transporte plus de combien de millions par jour. Et il y a combien de Gypsy à New York City et New York State. Donc on vient de dire tout. Donc ça veut dire que nous participons dans le développement de ces pays, de New York City. Donc il ne faut pas qu'on va rester derrière en disant que je suis venu chercher mon argent, rentrer sur moi. Quand tu rentres dans quelque chose, il faut rentrer il faut venir dans le bon moment pour avoir, pour avoir ce que tu cherches. Donc ce que je voudrais dire à tous mes frères, et grâce à Ivoire TV, je remercie Ivoire TV aujourd'hui pour la première fois qu'ils montrent ce qu'on fait. Et nous avons participé dans beaucoup de réunions de ces gens avec les commissionnaires, avec même commissionnaires même de New York. Nous avons participé des trucs avec le Worker Compensation et on a tellement lutté pour les chauffeurs. Et aujourd'hui, je crois que nous payons que 260 par voiture. Et au début, c'était dans 15 000 $ par voiture. Nous avons lutté, on a fait des protestations, on a fait des démarches par-ci, par-là. Et aujourd'hui, donc les gens, quand les gens viennent, ils disent ah c'est combien, on dit 260, ils ne savent pas pourquoi c'est devenu 260. Et pourtant c'était à 15 000 $ et c'est revenu à 260. C'est grâce à ce qu'on fait là et que c'est devenu à 260. Donc je remercie Ivoire TV et je veux que tout le monde vienne participer. C'est un bureau qui est ouvert pour tout le monde. C'est ouvert pour tout le monde et il peut contacter Kane ou bien il peut me contacter ou bien le président de New Harlem, Dana, UNC, Cap Limo et Glory. Donc contactez vos responsables pour savoir, pour voir comment vous pouvez intégrer à ces trucs-là et évoluer. Ok, merci.
Merci bien, monsieur Amadou.